Now let's have a look at new data that shows just how tough the cost of living crisis is hurting Australians. Household spending actually went up 3.6% in February compared to last year, but spending on non-discretionary items rose 6.9%. Matt, many people don't know this about you, but you are an economist by trade or by qualification. So, how do you interpret these figures? Does this show that life is just getting so much more expensive for people that they have to spend basically 7% more on essential items?
Well, I suppose this is what an economist would call a lagging indicator. That is, it's evidence or data that's lagging the real-world experience that we all know. It's not surprising or shocking seeing these figures. I think all of us in our own lives would know and understand when you go to the grocery store and rack up the bill, it's a lot more than you think it would usually be in the trolley. And that's having an impact on all Australians. And I just don't think the Prime Minister fully understands this. His priorities in his time in government have been to try to deliver this voice, now make a big deal of this Governor-General appointment, and there seems to be very little focus on tackling these issues. I mean, the underlying problem we've got here as a country is we are not producing enough, efficiently enough. Our energy prices are going through the roof. That's feeding through the cost of everything. Government spending is being too high during an economic boom. Population growth is too high. And the Prime Minister's not doing anything to tackle these things. He's not cutting spending. He's not cutting the migration rate. We've still got record migration coming to this country. And of course, energy prices are still skyrocketing. So look, the people will have their judgment the next year about this, but I don't think the Prime Minister has any answers to the cost of living crisis that is cruelling Australian families right now.
Yeah, look, no answers at all. Basil, I've been really looking forward to having you on the show because we saw polls this week that indicated that voters in WA are starting to turn away from the Albanese government. Is cost of living the biggest factor here, or do you think that the change in the electoral sentiment since the 2022 election is just because, the anti-Scott Morrison factor isn't there anymore?
Well, that's clearly gone, and that was a huge factor in the most recent federal election, which ultimately swept federal Labor to power based on a very significant result here in the West. I think, and as everybody acknowledges around the country, we are a mining state. There are lots and lots of people involved in the mining industry and the mining services and the like, and anything that threatens mining and therefore the livelihoods of lots and lots of West Australians is an immediate red flag. And it's clear with things like Nature Positive that there is not enough consideration given to not only the industry but also the many thousands of Western Australians who have voiced concern about the negative impacts of some of those sweeping changes and the impacts that they could make. I think there is a sense that although the Albanese government have made significant attempts to get here and have a physical presence, lots of visits, federal cabinets come over, all of those sorts of things, they've been box-ticking exercises. But are they really listening? And do they understand what is important here in Western Australia? And the answer, based on the most recent polling, is no. The view of West Aussies is it's not really being taken seriously.
Now, Matt Canavan, you've got into quite a big fight with Get Up. Tell us what's going on.
Yeah, well, Get Up are trying to raise money off the back of me, basically. That's what they're doing. They put this long email to their supporters today. I'm not one of them. I didn't get the email directly, but I got flicked it to me by a number of people who track these things. And, yeah, they've written a long email saying I'm terrible and some evil person, and please chip in to send them money because now I would like to see the Northern Territory shock horror get over its shocking gas shortage and actually drill for new gas resources so they can maintain their economy, possibly also help the rest of us as well. They raised in their email that, I did help support and build the Adani mine. I campaigned to get the fracking ban in Victoria removed, and they're both things I went up against Get Up on, and they lost, and I won, and we did win Adani, we did win the fracking ban in Victoria, and the world hasn't blown up, I don't think, but the Get Up just keep losing debates and fights, and I think they're going to lose this one too, because I know people in the Northern Territory don't want to run out of gas. They don't want their lights to go off. They don't want to lose all their industry. They're going to have to.
So there's good news and bad news for you tonight, Matt. Sharri might have forgotten your name, but Get Up haven't forgotten your name. So you're still world famous in lots and lots of ways. So there's a positive and a negative in there for you tonight, Matt.
Oh, I didn't
I might not
really
be big on Sky
forget
News, but I'm massive in Paddington.
It was just a momentary lapse. I apologise.
We understand.
Matt.
We all do it. We all do it.
What happens to the best of us, Sharri?
A big story today. I'm not going to be able to be so harsh on Joe Biden. I'll have to scrap that topic because we were going to have another go at him tonight for being so forgetful. But it came back to me in 10 seconds. Basil, another big story today about AUKUS. Look, this is just delay after delay after delay. And now it looks like the AUKUS security pack, the nuclear-powered submarines that Australia was scheduled to buy from the US in the early 2030s, already running another 2 to 3 years late. Look, the problem with this is that it's just leaving us, and it's not the America's fault. It's our own defence minister's fault, and over many successive governments, that we just don't have the infrastructure in place should we need it in 10 years' time.
New home builds and nuclear submarines, they are never, ever going to be delivered on time. These are significant delays. I think with one of them 24 months, with the other one 36 months, and it does potentially leave us exposed. You would hope, by the way, that it's a fixed price. I don't know if it is. Matt might know that. But you would hope that we don't have to continue to pay inflated prices based on when the delivery date is. It is a worry because this technology is a cornerstone to our future defence structure, and we were expecting these to be delivered significantly earlier. So it remains to be seen how the Albanese government and Defence are able to cover the absence of this new equipment long after it was expected to be delivered. But it does also demonstrate that the forward planning required here, the necessary setup, if you like, to have options or backups in place, it's also important, and the delivery oh so unreliable.
Yeah. All right, Basil Zamplis, Matt Canavan, thank you both so much for your time tonight.